Hey everybody, this is IndieGeek, and today I'm taking a look at the Nightmare Cooperative. This is kind of a beta version, but it is from Lucky Frame, and should be out on Steam, as well as, I believe, iOS, sometime in July. So for now, I'm just going to give you kind of an early look at this. I've played a little bit, kind of checked it out. Basically what's going on here is we've got kind of an interesting take on a roguelike, and one kind of unlike anything else I've seen done with roguelikes, which is nice to see because, you know, we are getting to the point where there's been a ton of roguelikes and they are starting to feel a little similar. So, you know, it is nice to see some real innovation here. So that was a really bad example of how you play this game. Anyways, what we've got going on here is we have our characters. We are on the left side of the screen here. You can see me moving around. All I'm doing here is just moving around, and I do have potions, which you can see. I can use those to use my abilities, basically. And, this is really bad. So on the right side, I'm playing terribly here, but let me just kind of explain what's going on. So as you can see, on the right side, we've got my character listed, as well as how many hearts I have, which is basically how many hits I can take, and how many potions I have, which is how many times that I can use my special ability. So, oh, I like that. That's actually a pretty useful skill. Okay, so what makes this different from other roguelikes? Well, the things that really stand out to me are, first of all, every piece of treasure is like a risk reward. Every time I pick up a treasure chest, I spawn a treasure or get something, but I also spawn another monster. So like this will spawn 2 more monsters, which you saw. Sometimes that works out to be fine, like that time was fine. Other times it works out to be pretty bad for you, because it all kind of just like comes down to which monsters get spawned, which of course is where some of the random generation comes in there. That was pretty bad, but we will replay and go through a couple more games here as I continue to kind of explain sort of what I'm going through with this game. Alright, so I can take him out. So basically, the way that I have noticed things going so far is it's pretty much like a 1-1 kind of thing. Like if I hit a monster, then they take 1 damage and I take 1 damage, and that's pretty much how it goes. I haven't noticed anything really deviate from that too much, I don't think. You did see there when I was not like in line of sight when I touched that guy, then what ended up happening was that I took a hit first, which is not good, obviously. So you want to, of course, kind of try and plan things out as best as you can. And I guess that's what really kind of stands out as being the big difference with this roguelike compared to other roguelikes, is that it is much more about developing a strategy to move through these environments, hopefully without taking too much unnecessary damage. Alright, so what I'm going to try and do here, no, I think I'm just going to get out of here safely now that I think about it. I could have gone for the, okay, so we've got some extra buddies here. Alright, cool. So I got a ranger. I think you can maybe only have 3 at once? I'm not totally sure how that works. I don't know that I've ever had more than 3, so see, that was really bad. This is like typically about the point in the game where I just die no matter what I do, because it is quite difficult. You know, the difficulty definitely ramps up here. This is actually, I think, the farthest I've made it. Oh, and we've got 2 buddies, or 1 buddy here, I guess. Oh, you know what? Maybe you can only pick up 1 person per floor. That would make a lot of sense. Okay, I want to go for this heart. Alright, that was, yep, a relatively okay thing to spawn. I'm not sure if the gold actually does anything. I don't know that I've noticed it giving me anything yet. And I don't know if that's my misunderstanding of things or if it actually doesn't do anything. But from what I've noticed so far, I don't think I've been able to use gold for anything, but that's fine. It might just determine your score, I guess, because there are scores saved as kind of like your local data. I don't think there's leaderboards yet. I imagine at some point there very well might be. Okay, that was a pretty bad run through this particular floor. I lost a lot of hits that I probably, or a lot of, yeah, I lost a lot of health that I really did not need to lose. But this is by far like the best I've done, and I kind of want to, I really wanted to try and just bum rush the exits so we could see what was going on. Let me show you like the discoveries. So basically we can see everything that we found, get a little info about all of it. You know, so you can kind of learn how these things work, as well as seeing the enemies that we've seen. Obviously we'd have more if we had been able to make it to the next floor, but we didn't. You can also check out high scores. So yeah, it does look like, oh cool, so there are definitely wow, 972 turns actually beat the game. That is pretty awesome. So, you know, it is nice to see that people are already getting really into it, and I think it's really, really good. You know, I've mentioned before on the channel that, like, as much as I like roguelikes, there is kind of a problematic kind of, like, influx of a ton of roguelikes right now, and it's problematic because a lot of them do very, very similar things to all of the other ones that are available. So, you know, with that in mind, we're not exactly, you know, getting something new if that's all we're seeing is just kind of like these rehashes of other roguelike ideas. But I think this is like the most strategic roguelike I've played yet, and I'm, you know, not making a good example of that. What happened? Okay, let me... Okay, sorry, I just gotta start the game over. I think I just ran into a bug there. It wouldn't let me move, but that's quite alright. Like I said, it is a beta version, so anything that you see is definitely not totally representative of the final product. So, do have to keep that in mind. This is going to be a bad run. But you know, I think especially because you only get the 4 arrow keys, so you're moving all 4, or all 3, I guess, characters at once. So, like, having more characters is not always a good thing. I mean, it's definitely good for your survival, because it gives you better chances of surviving. Yeah, how weird. That's another bug, it seems. Let's see if this... Oh, there we go. Sorry, that wasn't a bug. That was just, the game kind of hung up for a second, but that's quite alright. Alright. Luckily that turned out alright for me. So, you know, I'm having to, like, carefully plan here to try and navigate everything so that I don't lose anybody or accidentally take, like, really bad damage. And I'm not worrying about gold right now or anything. I'm just kind of trying to, like, get through these without too much trouble. Nice. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, I've got all 3 characters with full health right now. Oh, so you definitely can add more people. I guess I've just never had enough people alive to do that. Alright, oh, that was a bad hit there. That's fine, though. Of course, you know, like I said, though, adding more people is not always actually an advantage, because you do run into kind of situations where it becomes more complicated to control your characters. But this is seeming like a pretty good run. So yeah, you know, I think from a gameplay perspective, this really stands out among other roguelikes. And I think this is going to be one that a lot of people get into. And, you know, that's simply just because it is such a good, kind of unique idea. You know, all roguelikes take a bit of strategy. This one, however, I feel like takes more strategy than any other that I've played, like I already mentioned. You know, it's really just kind of exemplified in this gameplay, like how important the strategy is with everything that's going on. Yeah, see, so I lost a character there. Okay, just trying to navigate my way to the exit. Nice. There's number 2. And then we will go free. Perfect. Alright, let's get you. Yeah, so I think the stipulation is that you can only pick up 1 new member per floor, which I think is definitely reasonable. Ooh, okay, this was not a good floor for me. Okay, that's fine though. We will restart a run here. That was a pretty good one though. As far as other aspects, I think, considering it's in beta, first of all, I want to say that it runs really well. There's a lot of really great things already going on with this, and I would imagine that it's only going to get more and more polished as we head towards release. But I feel like the core gameplay that's here is already extremely good, and it's already pretty addictive. Like, I think one of the things that makes it stand out as kind of hitting that one more play quality that you want is that the runs are typically short. Like, even when I've made it pretty far, the runs are relatively short, and that can make a huge difference in a game like this, because, you know, if it's like an hour or 2 investment, then, you know, you aren't going to be like very likely to always want to sit down and finish. I am just taking like all kinds of damage here. Alright. Again, you know, having multiple characters moving all at the same time really does kind of make for something that is pretty hard to figure out sometimes strategically, like how to get through these levels. Alright, so where are... Okay, so there's no new people on this floor. Wow, okay. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is that the art style, I think, is absolutely beautiful. I'm a big fan of this art style, and I love the way the levels kind of pop in and fade away. I think that all looks really good. And basically all around, you know, I think the game has just got like really great presentation. You know, everything from the way it plays to the way it looks to the music as well. It's all just very good. And I think, again, that's going to be something that makes it stand out, is, again, you know, it's nothing about this feels generic. And I guess that is kind of the problem with a lot of the roguelikes that are coming out, is because there are so many, we start to get a lot of them that we feel like we've seen before. At least I certainly do, from my perspective on the whole thing. This game, however, you know, it's stylish, it's a new, different kind of idea, and I think it is pulled off very well. So, you know, I think this is definitely going to be one to look out for. I think it's going to be one that I would suggest you watch, and when it comes out on Steam, I would say pick it up, or on iOS. I believe it also is going to be on there, so this seems like it would be a really good one on the go. Pretty simple interface, so I can't imagine that it would, you know, control badly or anything on iOS. I think it would kind of be a perfect fit, honestly. But I don't think that I have too much else to say today. I don't know anything about the price. so you will have to kind of just look out for that. I do always like to include a link on these kind of videos, so I think what I'll do is probably link you to the I think there's a web page for the game, and I will link to that in the description, so you can use that to kind of keep up with news on the game. And yeah, I think that is about it. So definitely, like I said, I would check this out. I don't know if I will like cover this again when it actually releases. I would say probably not, because we're already pretty close. I can't imagine too much is going to change. I think the rest is just kind of like polishing stuff, which is great to hear. It is nice to get something this polished that's still like potentially like a month out from release. It's good to see that the devs are really putting the time in to make sure that this is a good quality product. Oh, we are just getting like ganked at the door there. But yeah, I think that is all that I really have to say about this one. Easily recommended if you are a fan of roguelikes at all. This is one of the better ones I've played in a while, and I am definitely looking forward to kind of checking more out about it. So, yeah, with that, as always, feel free to leave comments. If there's anything that you would like to comment about, subscribe to the channel to see more videos from me every single day. And of course, if you liked my video on the Nightmare Cooperative, then please do consider clicking the like button. But with that, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.